guess what? It's gonna go pretty well. It's gonna be a lot of ups and downs. I'm not gonna tell you the specifics because you get too scared. So just appreciate where you are.
Well, how many times did you hit bottom, would you say?
How many grains of sand in the desert, sir?
Yeah.
But you never know when it's gonna be your time in the barrel. And I've been on both sides of that coin. I need to be kept right-sized because I can easily fall into self-seeking and depression and self-pity and judgment and all that stuff. It's kind of it's a bit of a default, but I spend enough energy and I've had enough help over enough years to actually just say, oh, that's just awful, destructive behavior. When you're 25 and you're given the keys to the kingdom, you're going to probably come out of center, maybe out of fear, maybe out of confidence. When things finally started catching up with me being able to learn, implement, and not, as my dad always says, kid, make no mistakes. Once I was able to make new mistakes, which was in my late 30s, completely different ballgame. It baffles me, confidence. What does it really mean? There was a period of time where I felt like I did the first Ironman, and then I was doing the first Sherlock, and I had my shirt off, and I was doing martial arts. I was all over the place, and it just felt like I was hitting triples no matter what I did. And then people are like, "Are you really as confident as you seem?" And I was like, "I guess right now I am, yeah." There's been times when I felt I'm in possession of it, and then you want to let go a little bit because it's only ever the moment and life guiding you. The wind is so at your back that you're like, wow, are you just, jumping over the waves and all that by yourself? And you're like, you bet I am. But there's a physics to the moment, man, moment, machine, whatever, and the wind's at your back. And then the wind does what wind does, and it changes. And if you're left there thinking, so I think it's great to be in full possession of what you would call supreme confidence, and then see what happens if you don't hold on to it so hard, because it's great, but it is a bit of an illusion because like everything else, it's always changing. And every day the reset button, the space bar gets pressed and it's like, now what?
Prison culture is really something that's hard to explain. It's opened my eyes to a lot. Things are violent, and there's certain things that you do when you enter that system that you wouldn't care to do on the street, but it's part of the deal.
There's a morality clause here on this planet, and it's a big price to pay. And I think having a moral psychology is job one. So sometimes you just got to go, yeah, I effed up. Actually, I asked Mel to present this award to me for a reason, because when I couldn't get sober, he told me not to give up hope, and he urged me to find my faith. Didn't have to be his or anyone else's as long as it was rooted in forgiveness. And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him. And he kept a roof over my head, and he kept food on the table. And most importantly, he said that if I accepted responsibility for my wrongdoings, and if I embraced that part of my soul that was ugly, hugging the cactus, he calls it, he said that if I hugged the cactus long enough, I'd become a man of some humility, and that my life would take on a new meaning. And I did, and it worked. All he asked in return was that someday I help the next guy in some small way. Little things are easy to change. Big things become an inconvenience to the higher good. And at what point do you want to pull the air brake on something where the train's, already leaving the station? It's really difficult, and the more stressed out I think anyone is, the more they try to bring their own worldview to bear to soothe themselves and to try to fit in. But this question to me is the only question that I feel I need to keep asking myself. Can you get quiet enough to actually connect with the other flailing human beings that are actually trying to do something valid together? If I'm noticing anything now, it's that we need to shift and we need new challenges. And just like MMA and society and politics, things are moving and morphing, and the information age is making things so, everything's learning and growing from everything so quickly, and improving or disproving or discounting whatever's happening next.
Well, I was talking to my shrink on the ride down here today, and as usual, the topic of the day is the topic it always is, which is we don't really know what we're doing when we're doing it. And if we get comfortable with that, then we're going to be less shocked by the awful results.
Yeah.
You know, so here's all I'll say. You want to talk about validation and mentors and people who have been with me at critical times. I mentioned some male directors. All of them together could not hold a candle to the power of partnership when you find somebody who, without meaning to, you just kind of get each other, and then you cash in all your chips and you say, we're going to do this difficult thing, which is called relationship building. And I might have been dead as a doornail in Ojai if I hadn't met her, who knows? Because she's the only person in my entire life and career who I can nail it on a take. I need to be taken care of, I need to be validated. In my personal life, I try to be this as a dad. Without being rigid, I try to just hold my space so that it's something that is consistent enough for someone else to rely on and have a deep, abiding trust in. If I'm completely trustworthy, if my word is bond, and if I suit up and show up no matter what, and you can count on me, that gives the others so much freedom, because they're not having to entangle with my inconsistency or my neurosis